What's up guys, Shiz here with Shiz's Picks episode 1, where I'll be talking about the indie games and arcade games that came out throughout the week that I played. I'll tell you about what the game is like, I'll tell you what the achievements are like, and then I'll close with which one was my favorite and my pick of the week. So first off, we have the awesome level max DLC in Trials Fusion. Any Trials fan such as myself should be really happy about this one, because instead of the typical 10-ish tracks, we're getting 30, including a new 8-track adventure mode, which is a lot of fun. One thing that I thought was really cool is that the other 22 tracks, only half are made by Red Links. The other 11 are actually made by favorites in the Trials community. So I thought that was pretty cool of Red Links to give these guys proper credit and throw them in the actual game. Achievement wise, it's Trials, it's brutal, it's damn near impossible. One of the achievements requires you to beat developers' times on 10 tracks. I myself am still only at 4 out of 10 because the times are even harder than Platinum. So it's not easy. Here you can see adventure mode, which I think is hilarious. Instead of a rider and motocross, you're Red Links holding a golden pistol riding a tattooed purple-haired fire-breathing unicorn. Doesn't get much more awesome than that. So Trials Fusion awesome level max DLC, very fun, definitely recommend it for 10 bucks. It's a lot of bang for your buck. It may take you only an hour or two maybe to crank out every single track, but if you want to go, you know, get the challenges, get the gold, platinum medals, get the achievements, you're gonna have plenty of content to come back for. Next on the list is The Fall. It reminds me a lot of The Swapper, which is by no means a bad thing. I like the look of this game, the vibe of this game, the music and the sounds have a nice ambiance to them. Controls in games like this can sometimes be fidgety, but this one is pretty tight, so I'm not complaining at all. In the Swapper, your beam created clones, whereas this one, you network with some mechanical objects, or you can just interact with stuff physically. Like here, I found a wrench, so I dislodged a robotic arm, which I'm going to go to a security panel and use to reach the security card that my arms were not long enough to reach before, and then I'll go open a door. Typical puzzle solving right there. But yeah, the game is pretty straightforward in the sense that you get thrown down and just, here's how you do it, go. The puzzles are obviously going to get harder and harder. I'm a quarter through the game and it's already getting much more difficult than it was before. But it's fun. I like it. The vibe is really nice. The achievements themselves are pretty straightforward. It's basically beat the game and find all of the logs. There's already guides out there that you can 100% this game in 2-3 hours. So if it feels like your type of game, I would definitely suggest this one. It's pretty good.
Artificial life form. State your primary function.
Next on the list is Tachyon Project, another twin-stick shooter that will be called the Geometry Wars clone, but it is good fun and it's actually quite easy. You have 10 levels, you can customize your ship like you see on screen with different primary, secondary weapons, different buffs like increase speed, increase health, ricochet bullets, extra damage, and so on and so forth. The achievement list is very straightforward. It's basically beat the game, kill 100 of each type of enemy, get 2,500 kills with each weapon type, and get its total combined score of 1,000,000 and 10 million points. Very straightforward. Should take about 10 hours, but it should be no problem lasting that long because the game is very fun. The graphics are nice, it's very colorful without being too much so that you can't see what the hell is happening, although it does get very chaotic. The music is I like it, the soundtrack is very nice, it suits the game very well, and it doesn't get stale. One thing that's very cool about this game is instead of having a set amount of lives or a set amount of bombs, everything revolves around time. If you kill enemies, you regain time. If you get hit, you lose time, such as you saw just now. I got hit, lost like 30 seconds and died. There are checkpoints between each wave, which is pretty much the deciding factor in why this game is easy rather than hard. The only problem I have with this game, honestly, is that pause screen. The noises that it makes are brutal. If you're wearing a headset, you're gonna wish that you were deaf. Besides that, game is very fun. If you're a twin stick fan, I highly suggest this one. If you're not a twin stick fan, or you've never played them, I should say, this is probably a good place to start because it's a lot more forgiving than the other ones that are available, with the exception of maybe 60-second Shooter Prime, although that did have a couple of trickier achievements. But yeah, very, very fun game. I definitely recommend it. And now we have So Many Me, which just came out and is free for the next 2 weeks. So I definitely suggest grabbing it anyways for that nice price tag of free $99. This is yet another puzzle solving platformer. What's cool about this one is you have clones, and as you can see on the screen, you can turn into blocks and use your clones as double jumps basically. And that's going to obviously come into play very, very often, such as hitting switches like you just saw on screen to open this little compartment which would have a collectible, but I already grabbed it. Right now I show you one of the collectibles on each level is an appearance. You get appearance, clones, and relics on each level. Relics will come into play later. They will allow you to get upgrades. The achievements are very, very straightforward. Yet again, they require you to basically just beat the game and get 100% completion. So, you know, there's achievements for getting every clone, every appearance, and so on and so forth. Obviously, the game will get progressively harder. I'm at 18% and I'm already scratching my head, so I can't even imagine how difficult it's going to get later on. But it's very fun. Graphics are very nice and colorful and cute. They're very clean. The soundtrack is very, very fitting. It's nice. I really like the music quite a bit actually. It's got a nice feel to it. Even when you're frustrated, the music will be peaceful enough to calm you down a bit. But yeah, I definitely suggest this one. So far, I played it only an hour and a half or so, but I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm definitely going to go back to it and try to complete it. And finally, we end with my pick of the week. No time to explain. I'd love to tell you what this game is about, but there's just no time, guys. Okay, but for real, this game is awesome. You could jump, but let's ignore that. It's useless. The controls are basically move with the left stick, use the laser beam with the right to get from point A to point B. I'm going to show you the beginning of the game, which is an absolute joke. You could crank out the entire first world in a matter of minutes, and then I'll show you later on in the game. It gets a lot trickier. You're going to die. As you can see, you'll have your future self on screen. I'm going to shut up for a second so you can hear what he'll yell. I can see my bones! Why? So he always yells something different, and it's always funny. If you die and come back, he'll say something new. It's absolutely hilarious. This game is just so fun. It's frantic. The levels are short, but they're sweet. You know, it's just so fun. The environments are cool. They keep changing. You know, you start with just jumping over spikes. Eventually, you have gravity lifts, etc. Achievement-wise, the game I originally thought was going to be very, very easy. It's actually going to be quite tricky. There's some speed runs of literally beating worlds in under a minute. Beating worlds without dying, which, you know, they of course pick the worlds that are brutal. So it's not going to be easy. There are collectibles, which are hats, and even one of the achievements is like beat the dinosaur world without dying while wearing the dinosaur hat. So there's achievements, you know, get half of them, get all of them. But man, this game is just so fun. It started as a free Flash game, and the full versions are finally out on the Xbox One and PC. I suggest them highly. So if you guys like this, leave a comment. If you had suggestions, leave a comment. But hopefully I helped you guys choose which game you're gonna buy this week. Peace. Alright, it's episode 1. I figured I'd throw in a little extra for you guys. SlashDash also came out. I'm a moron, it's 2 to 4 players, but it's only local, and I have no friends, so I can't play the game. Luckily, I was able to beat the hell out of a dummy player number 2. Got a couple hundred gamer score in a matter of minutes, which was very nice. The achievement list, very straightforward. Win a certain amount of games, capture some flags, blah, blah, blah. You could do this in 2 hours. But I looked at videos online. It seems like a very fun game. You got deathmatch, you got this, where you have clones, you have capture the flag. Nice little game if you have friends, you're not a loser like me.